Oh, shoot, we have a meeting now. I don't know how to set that up. Should be good.
Yeah, okay.
Double check as you're getting going and let you know if it's not.
All right, so we will call the public hearing for Frost Wines LLC, doing business as Herman J. Weimer Vineyards. Open for discussion on the proposed tax incentives for their project. I'll start off, I'm Steve Griffin, CEO of the Finger Lakes Economic Development Center. And I'll do just a brief overview of the project and the proposed incentives. And we'll leave it open for any public comment. This is Frost Wines entered an application to look for sales, mortgage, and property tax exemptions on the proposed projects, which consists of existing improvements to approximately 8,370 square feet of building, renovating 3,500 additional square feet, which is part of planning, design, construction, and operation. And then, let's see if I get this right. Construction of another 6,000 square feet of tank storage space or additional storage space, which will contain fermentation, tank rooms, catwalks, press pads, loading docks, and flex space. The total project cost is estimated at $1.6 million. We are proposing our manufacturing sales in our manufacturing pilot abatement, which is a 15-year pilot, 5 years at 100% break on the increased value, 10% decreasing every year thereafter. We are projecting sales tax exemption totaling $47,760, mortgage tax savings of $15,000, and property tax savings of $165,864. Total savings would be $228,624. In our own projections, you count how much they're investing, and it will be creating 5 full-time positions, and then with one additional indirect and one induced job, wages paid and cumulative property taxes paid over the same 15 years. They will have invested $8,200,000 and basically $80,000 for a 36-to-1 company to community investment ratio. Basically, they're looking to renovate some of their existing facility, build on a tank storage room, or so they can remove some of that in their existing facility to use that for more of their operations. So with that, we'll open it up for public comment. Muddled my way through that. We'll see how clear that was in the report back.
Is there no possibility for these pilots of not granting the exemption for all sales tax? You know, specifically, from the town standpoint, our tax cap this year was this at 1.2%, which was like $35,000 more levy. I mean, we're not a big taxing district. Our fire contract went up more than that.
Okay.
So now, here's a project that without the pilot, they would have started at 50% assessment and gone up 5% a year for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It would make a bit of a difference to the township, but I assume it's, we have no say whether they're issued a exemption from our.
Well, that's what this event is for.
Yeah.
You have the ability to give input on it. It does not those property taxes, it does not impact special use fees, so like fire. So they would still pay
Yeah.
their
Oh,
fire
yeah.
and library taxes and all that. That's separated, so they'd still get the full
Right.
tax value on that. On the sales tax, I don't know of
It
anyone.
doesn't do us any good.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only thing that the town, gets directly hurt from is
Right.
property tax.
We're we're aware of that and run into that challenge in just about every project
Yeah.
that comes to us that comes up. I know there's been ongoing discussion within the county legislature for some level of revenue share.
Yeah.
Which I personally am a proponent for. I think it makes sense to do that, and even if it starts out small, but can be tied to future growth, then it's helpful. We talked about doing it 16 years ago when I started, and the amount my initial projection showed would have been like minuscule for all the other taxing entities, but now it would have been 16 years later with sales taxes doubled. It actually would. It'd be worth something now, but that's the growth element of it. There is, I know schools specifically, Governor Cuomo enacted under that tax cap the calculation for whatever. Well, I'll leave my personal views to myself here. Pilots negatively impact the tax cap calculation for schools. I don't know if it negatively impacts every municipality. I think it
I
might.
can't remember.
It definitely does for schools.
It's one of those forms I do twice a year. I do it
Yeah.
before we start, and then once again. And I know there is something about the pilot comes in, the pilot goes out.
Somehow, for whatever, and I don't know the specific calculation, but I know I think you subtract it from your cap allocations or something. It's not whatever way. I know it's a negative value to the taxing entities. There was a bill put forward in the state budget to amend that calculation, but I don't know that it went through. I don't know that it's been finally voted on yet, but it's the closest we've come to getting that overturned, because it doesn't make any sense. It's still tax revenue. It doesn't make any sense that it's because it comes on the tax exempt roll instead of taxable roll. I don't know why that should be.
The whole tax cap is just ridiculous. You allow us a 1.2% increase. Well, what's gone up 1.2% in the last year?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think we're sitting on all these piles of cash and.
Mm-hmm.
I always figured the state was just jealous that they couldn't budget as well as we do to avoid borrowing.
Yep.
Well, we're getting off the pilot discussion. So.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's
Yeah, so we currently, the only pilot, I think, for the town now is the railroad. I don't know how that, do we get a direct payment for that, is that? Yeah. Because Mangus went
another
off.
one.
Empire Pipeline, but do they,
They don't come through our township.
they not come through your township?
I feel like there's one other one.
Come point, it's Milo,
You know,
would be the only thing close.
start to look out my way when I changed hands. And like I said, Mangus was the last one, and that's finished. Because Fulkerson's didn't get one when they did their winery.
Gosh, I felt like there was another one in there somewhere.
We got tons of people on Zoom watching this.
Just a live stream,
Yeah.
state requirements. There's a chat feature, but no one's on.
No one's on. We've had public hearings like this too.
Most of these do go this way.
Yeah.
The only ones we generally get people for we tend to be around utilities,
Yeah.
whether it's Greenwich or pipelines or
The solar projects
Solars.
north of here, have they gotten pilots? Have they asked?
yes.
Yes to both. They've got
Yes.
them.
And those come in large part, it's around the utility element, like the pilots and in a large part, not every case, but in most cases are almost used as the instrument to get the taxing entity and the company to an agreed
Valuation.
yeah, instead of going to courts and all those sort of things based off of,
Okay.
I know like when windmills were the rage for a while, it's machinery, right? So,
Right.
you know, how do you know, at least someone can make the argument it's machinery and at least
Yeah.
the wind companies do. And then the assessor's like, no, that's value, that's land value. And so the pilot comes into play like, all right, we agree it needs to be of some public benefit. So that's where the pilots those usually come in, but usually bring with it
Yeah.
some people both for and against.
We have to keep this open.
I don't think there's any hard fast rule. I think we normally do. You only schedule for 10
I
minutes.
just put the window up on the website, it was for 10 minutes, usually 15.
Yeah, we usually go over 15 to
Down the door out there.
15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How's your supervisor meetings going? Or you're not having that many?
We do those quarterly. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, I mean, and that was the impetus. That's why, so there's a bunch of us that volunteered to meet with the county legislators about this sharing thing. That's gonna happen the week of the 23rd, hopefully.
Taylor had quite a letter about that in the paper, in the Chronicle Express. Taylor Fitch.
Yeah, he's been a good proponent of it.
Hmm.
That's time. My bookkeeper works for Reading and Barrington as well. And she said Reading's, the sales tax Reading gets, about covers their highway department.
Should be huge, right? That's the,
Schuyler County, they got the racetrack,
yeah.
they got all the Walmart hotels and all that. And I get, the county's got projects. I mean, it's good they didn't have to borrow to build the highway barn, although we'll see how much more bad soil they find. But they do need to do work on the jail, but why?
Yeah, they have added, in going through this, you learn of the added expenses I didn't know that they had, like, that you have to pay for all the SUNY school, right?
Oh, right,
Residents,
yeah.
Gates County residents that go to a SUNY school, they pay a certain amount of money per student.
All SUNYs and the community colleges.
All SUNYs.
All SUNYs at that percentage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the most expensive ones, there's some like fashion design school in New York City or something like that. That's
Yeah.
SUNY affiliated, and that one costs the most for,
Uh,
it's got the biggest
Yeah.
reimbursement from the
So they
county.
bring that up, I asked them, well, how many students from the town start here are taking advantage of that? They don't know. I said, I don't think our Mennonites are going to college much.
If they are, it's not SUNY.
But again, that comes back to, it's a public good to have educated people in the county. I mean, I can't, there's no doubt. We gotta work on this housing thing, that's one of the things I wanna do in the legislature.
They, I was talking with a couple business owners today, and I just take them at their word. The Canadian government for immigration, if you're a foreign citizen trying to get into Canada,
Mhm.
but you have your master's degree, you're in. And I'm sure there's
There's a little more to it.
yeah, there's
still.
procedures to do it, but
Yeah.
basically you're granted access because they want
They need it.
highly educated individuals to come in to take doctor roles in nursing and
Yeah, you can.
engineering, all that stuff that nobody can find right now. And I said he saying the U.S. makes it really, really difficult to do that. And then you see what's happening at the borders, and you think, well, sort of the opposite's happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Canada, you can't immigrate without a job. So you have to, and it has to be a job that they can't fill. There's a number of countries that
Okay.
operate that way. We certainly have a number of jobs that can't be filled.
9 million openings?
Skilled people, I mean, that's,
I think with the last job numbers, I think there were 9 million openings in the U.S.
yeah.
It's amazing. 9 million open jobs.
Common.
Still know what I got.
All right, what time do we start? 3:00.
3:01. This is when you called us to order, so you've been 16 minutes.
I'll go
According
to
to my computer.
3:20.
I don't, think more about the housing. I don't know what, so if you just took a young family, starting out with a couple of kids, even if both parents are working, they could probably make $70,000 a year. How much of a mortgage could you afford? And could
What
you
did they say, 20, is it 20%?
20% of your?
I think is what they claim, so.
I think I've heard that too. I was just trying to figure out, okay, well, if you
It's
were gonna build new
1,100,
housing,
right, basically 1,100 a month. That's 70,000, that's 10%, that'd be 14,000 a year
yeah,
in mortgage payments.
so it took, yeah. So 30-year mortgage, how much of a brand new home could you afford?
Right. Well, then, so then the challenge becomes, so we're talking about the big tract of land we bought for a corporate park. We're looking to do at least a good section of it as housing.
Oh, neat.
So I was talking to some builders out of Rochester about it, and I've done some research and it backs it up that the going trend is that these developers have to rent the homes for a while because they're so expensive to build a single family home that
People can't.
people can afford it. A 1,200 square foot home, they're saying it's gonna be $380,000, 350 to 380,000. So the concept has been, the model has been moving towards renting them for 7 to 10 years, get some of your debt paid off as a contractor, like a developer, and then put sections of them up for sale to the renters, like you mentioned, buying these.
Sure.
And then that's the only way they figured out right now how to handle it,
work.
because they all tell me the same thing. Like the cost of materials to build in Gates County is the exact same cost of materials it costs us to build in Ontario or Albany, or
Right.
the materials are the same. So makes it challenging.
It's 3:20.
Who's counting? All right, well, it's 3:20. Having no further comments on Frost Pines, we'll thank the town of Starkey for their hospitality, and we'll close the public hearing.